I think this is one of the hardest challenges when it comes to dating a feminine woman, is that she will test you relentlessly. So you've heard in like the red pill, like the manosphere of women will shit test you. You've heard that before. That's an understanding that will take you maybe 5% of the way there. That, oh yeah, she'll shit test you about this, she'll shit test you about this. It goes way, way deeper than what you know about tests already. It pushes onto like a spiritual level that like I find it hard to comprehend, but I know that this is the truth because I've done well in this area like a good few times, and I know that this is the truth, which we learn in this chapter of The Way of the Superior Man. Stop hoping for your woman to get easier. Every moment with her is either a test or a celebration. So it says this in the book, and straight away I was like, I'm glad he's wrote that. Every moment with her is either a test or celebration, because this makes it easy. If you're not currently celebrating with her, like joyfully making love, you're both laughing and stuff, then she's testing you. Literally, it's like either you're laughing or making love, or she's testing you. So most likely she's just testing you. Most likely, literally everything she does, the way that she acts, like, red pill guys think that it's a shit test when she says this particular thing of like, oh, you sleep with loads of guys. No. It's not this particular sentence that she says to you. It's that she literally, her existence is a test for probably 90, 95, 98% of like who she is. Her existence is the test. The things that she says to you is just like, real world statement, voice, sounds. But who she is your test. And so what's being tested here? It's testing to make sure that you are unperturbable. I think that's how you pronounce it, unperturbable. Essentially, that you are who you are with the direction that you set for yourself, your goals, your purpose, and you will be not moved off course with that. So in the red pill space, you've probably heard of this stuff before, shit tests and everything. You've heard that in a way she's kind of like testing you, but also, like she wants to slightly pull you away from your purpose. And this is what you hear of guys say, like, yeah, be on your purpose, just focus on your purpose, never sacrifice your purpose. It's like, you've got to understand why. That's some basic advice that is really effective. Like it really works when, like you tell a young man, like, yeah, stay on your purpose, stay on your goals. But you've got to understand why that's actually attractive to girls. It's because she wants to feel like you are so entirely masculine that you understand that she literally is the test. It's not when she messages you and says like, oh, skip the gym today. No. Like her existence is literally the test. So it goes bigger than the specific sentence that she says to you. It's that when you meet her, or any woman, are you still exactly on the course that you set out for yourself? And of course, that course that, like we think of our purpose, that should include love, that should include family and stuff, right? So I'm not saying like, yeah, just go Mungo and just ignore these hoes or anything, right? We should include these things, but you should do this in the way that is like the truth of the world, in the way that is right, how much you see your woman. And she will complain and she will criticize you, and she'll want to see you more. She'll get really, really upset. Like her tests will be like, she's emotional, she's crying, she's complaining, she's messaging you, she's blowing up your phone, she feels really anxious, she feels really shy, she feels angry. All these things are literally just tests. Like they're not actually the thing that she says that they are. They are literally just simply a test. So a great way that I'm going to go forward with this is either you're celebrating, which is probably 2% of the time when you're like literally bursting out laughing with her, or I assume like, like in a really extremely loving moment where you're literally making love or something, a few percent of the time that you spend with her, or everything else is a test. And so it's just make sure that you are not moved off course. You know which course you're on, the direction, the steps that you're going to take, and you're going to keep going in that no matter what she does, no matter how much she distracts you, no matter whatever her content, like whatever she says or acts. It's all simply just like ignore what it is at face value, and it's peel it back, and it's literally just a test. Did you get distracted by this? She cried. But peel it back, it's a test. Did you get distracted? Her existence is a test. And this is a quote now. Your success doesn't mean shit to her unless you are free and loving. And if you are free and loving, nothing she says can collapse you. She wants to feel you are uncollapsible, so she pokes you in your weak spots. Your success doesn't mean shit to her unless you are free and loving. This is something like a lesson we can learn from really successful businessmen. Like you probably see this on the news, like really successful rich businessmen still get divorced by their wives, because your real world success doesn't really mean anything if she doesn't feel totally loved and safe. Remember, like a feminine woman here, like she's proud of you and she's like quite happy and stuff about your success, sweet. But like to her and her sort of own individual desires, it's all about just her feeling loved. And so you could be a millionaire, a billionaire, but if you don't know how to actually make her feel loved, not just the top 1% clickbait type of shit, like, oh yeah, be attractive, and number two, get a six pack, and number three, like all this shit. It's like that's real world shit, right? You've got to make her try to make her feel loved as much as possible. And if you can't do that, even if you are a really successful guy, you won't be able to actually like manage and maintain a good relationship with like an actual good high quality woman. There's probably women who are quite like heartless and brain dead, who will still spend time with a guy who doesn't really make them feel loved, and these women literally just are there just for like validation and Instagram pictures and stuff. Okay, whatever, like you never really wanted that. When we're talking about like actual love and companionship, she needs to feel that you are free and loving. And so if you are this level of like free and loving, you can't collapse under what she says. And this is so important. So she'll poke you in your weak spots. I think this is something that women intuitively know. They don't know that they're doing this, by the way. Some woman might be watching this thinking like, this is all crazy. I don't do this. Trust me. If you're a feminine woman, like you do this and you don't even realize that you're doing this. Feminine women are literally like they know exactly what your weak spot is. They find it so quickly because essentially, let's say there's something that you don't feel insecure about at all, right? To the point that it's not never in your mind, right? She probably has tested that thing and you didn't even realize it was a test because you weren't insecure about it. It wasn't a weak spot of yours. And so you passed the test without even realizing it was a test. But you have weak spots. You have sensitivities, insecurities. You have things which are literally weaknesses. And they're the ones that you argue with your woman over. It might not be something as like, real world is like, oh, you're short, and she says, oh, you're short. It might not be something as direct as that, but it could be something like a psychological issue that you have, that you get angry quite easily, that you get anxious or shy quite easily. Whatever it is, there is some kind of weak spot in your character, and that is what she will test. Maybe you get too emotional too quickly. Maybe you get distracted from your work very quickly. Whatever she's like has tested once and saw that you actually failed the test and you did get moved off course and she made you emotional and she distracted you, that's what she'll constantly keep testing. She'll constantly keep doing it, which it's like, she sounds like a bitch right now, doesn't she? This is literally like a gift that she can give us, because this is literally highlighting where we are weak. I think in the days when men were stronger, maybe back in the tribes, and we weren't as distracted. This is like what a man would go privately into his tent, into his hut, and start to like journal or think deeply about. He'd literally just sit there for hours and think like, why did I feel this emotion, or why did we have this conversation where I did not present my best self? He's like some guy with a mustache. He's like old school, like, and this is 1,000 years ago, some shit, right? And we don't have that these days. We get pissed off by a girl and we just think, yeah, red pill alpha male. Yeah, I'm just gonna block her, bro. I don't give a shit. Yeah, she's just being mean, bro. Like, but this is literally what a woman is supposed to be like. She's supposed to be able to see your weaknesses, and she can't help but to poke at them and to like highlight them to you, but not in the masculine way. Your masculine brothers can do this. They can see that you're fat and they'll look at you and say, bro, you're fat. You keep slowing us down on the hunt. You need to lose some weight. We'll look at you like this, like straight up, right? And that's the beauty of having masculine friends. They'll literally look at you and say, here is what is wrong with you. Don't be a little bitch. Don't be a pussy. Let's fix it. If it's a good man, he'll literally say, let's fix it together. Oh, I used to be like that. I used to have that weak spot. Here's what I did. I'll help you through it, right? That's really helpful. But a woman's not going to speak to you in that way. A feminine woman isn't. A masculine woman might still, but of course, then you'd most likely be a feminine man, and she's pointing out your like direct weaknesses, which is a bit different. If you're more of a masculine man and she's more of a feminine woman, she won't have like the understanding or even the consciousness to be able to look at you and say, this is what's wrong with you. You've got deep-rooted trauma. That's a weakness of yours. You've got a chink in your armor because of how your father treated you when you were a child. You easily get emotional and angry, and that will actually be your downfall. She can't say these things to you. She can't even like comprehend them herself, but she just finds herself just fucking annoying you in the exact way that triggers you. So what is it for you? What is your weak spots? For me, it's probably anxiety. Honestly, like, I get quite anxious when I'm dating a girl, and I find that when a girl has made me anxious, for the rest of the relationship, I will pretty much always be anxious. She'll constantly like I'll obviously it's like my responsibility. I'm being anxious, but like because of her. And I only realized just literally right now, like this is the weak spot that she's testing, and she's kind of making it worse and more painful in the short term. But it's like, here's the message, Hamza. Here's the message. You're anxious. It's a weakness. Come on, let's work on it. She can't help you work on it, but it's like she highlights it to you. So what is your weak spot? What is like not the real world thing that happens, but what is the part of your character, your personality, your traits or beliefs that is weak, that is a liability, that seems to get triggered by her? It could be something like anxiety. It could be something like angry, being angry, emotions, distance. What? It's something that is somewhat of an unideal trait on you. And so anything that she does, do not be moved off course. What this means is that you had this course, you had this goals, you had like your weekly timetable in the real world, for example. You had like your mental states, and she will continuously test you. And the two things we've got to do is, one, in our own private solitude time, is think of the things that she's tested us on and then make real good improvements on them, because we're just men of improvement. So this was already part of our course, right? This isn't us moving off course because we already like wanted to grow in ourselves anyway. So we'll do this in like our silent solitude times. We'll think about what is our weak spot that she's highlighting. How can I improve it? Okay, okay, let me take a course on this. Let me read a book on this. Let me get better at this. But especially in the short term, in the moment to moment, when these things happen, that's when you can't be moved off course. And the course, like, the sort of course that we're talking about here, when you're spending time with your woman, is to just be as like free and loving and humorous and funny and playful as you can. And so when you're spending time with your girl, and she just ends up saying something that pisses you off, or does something that really triggers you for some reason, and you're about to get angry and you think, yeah, this is like just worthy to get angry, that's when you shouldn't have been moved off course. Even though it feels like she's done something bad, that was a test to see, okay, are you so weak that now you will get angry at me for what I've just done? Even though I kind of like, even though she deserves it in like, in a way, this is like, I don't know if I'm explaining this right, but like today, I really do understand this like a lot better. So remain full, strong, and humorous, happy, and unperturbed, and that is how you pass the test. When she tests you and you feel yourself getting like it's emotional or whatever, or you kind of like are preemptively thinking about the next time this bitch tests you, remain full and strong and humorous. So if you can imagine the last time that you got kind of triggered by your girl, imagine something like that happening again. But this time you respond as if like not in like a malicious way, but like this little girl's gonna test you, and that she's actually doing it with love. And so instead of being offended, or instead of even thinking of this as like manipulative, well, how about you just look at her and then just suddenly like laugh and tickle her and pick her up and throw her around? Because like the game now, you're the superior man, and like it just amuses you what a little feminine woman is like. Know what area you often fail in. And so her test, her criticism, the thing that she's talking about, the thing that, seems to trigger you, whether it's something that you do, whether it's something that she feels, whatever it is, her test, criticism, complaints, all of that gets dissolved as soon as she feels your humor and your love. In general, with like the way of the superior man, what I've learned is that we should respond to everything a woman does with love. I know that's like very simplistic, but like that's pretty much the lesson that I've been taking away from like every chapter, that no matter what bullshit she does and it pisses us off, literally respond with love. And if it eventually gets to the point where you realize that this is not the woman for you, then you can end things, right? But whilst you are with her, and whilst you have clearly chosen to be with her, some minor shit like she's like said something, or she's got really sad again, or whatever it is, literally it all is just her showing that she needs like a top up of love. It's just that. And by you showing that, even in a time when she's testing you and she's expecting you to get triggered, that demonstrates your strength, and then she can also relax as well. Your woman is testing you because she loves you. This is how you become free. Hope that helps you at some point, bro. I find that a lot of these principles I have to recap for months and months and years. Like I first read this chapter I think over a year ago, like 1.5 years ago, and I might have understood like a few percent of the chapter that he was saying, and I found parts of it weird and everything. And with more experiences and more understanding and deep thoughts, I'm so impressed by this book. Hope that helps you, man. Have a good day.